About 25 years ago, I was introduced to the book, The Path of Least Resistance, and the author's name just jumped out on that big wheel of memory, and it's out here somewhere. It's going to come back later. It was introduced to us and through a seminar, and the teachers of that seminar, Ron Lambert and Gail Luster, had this beautiful visualization that we could do. And you can play along with it or just listen to what I'm going to tell you. But in life, especially when we're really focused on our path, you know, whether it's going towards goals or just trying to live a certain way, to stick to diets, things like that. Our path is as if we're sitting in the middle of a room and we've got a rubber band stretched over to this one wall over here, and this wall over here is all the things that's going to keep us from succeeding. And then we have another rubber band that's stretched way over here to our goals, our aims, our intentions. And both of these rubber bands have some slack in it. And when we're just sitting there and we're not really tuned in, we're not really connected with our intentions or with God or with our positive growth, this side over here starts pulling. And it's like it's winding up that rubber band. And we'll kind of fight it for a little bit, and we'll get some tension in that rubber band. The stress starts getting a little bit bigger, and next thing you know, instead of eating that salad, we just ate a pizza. And we're over here, and that makes us mad. And so this side over here starts, the tension gets greater, and it starts pulling us this way. And we start making these really good steps, and everything's feeling real good. It's like, all right, I'm back on my salads. I ate 5 salads in a row instead of those pizzas, instead of those sandwiches. I can celebrate. And then I jump up to celebrate, and whoop, we get pulled back over here. It's called the path of least resistance. We will go to whatever side we're being pulled to, whatever side offers us the least resistance at all is the direction that we're going to go. Dr. Wayne Dyer talks a little bit about this as well, and before I tell you the quote that I'm going to read from him, what I want to offer you today is that there is a way, instead of going the path of least resistance, we can go the path of no resistance. Okay, and we're going to start this by Wayne Dyer's quote. You live in a universe that has limitless potential for joy. And that limitless potential for joy is built into the creation process. Your source, which we call the universal mind of intention, adores you beyond anything you can possibly imagine. When you adore yourself in the same proportion, you're matched up with the field of intention, and you've opted for the path of no resistance. How amazing would it be that simply by adoring yourself the same way God adores you, that you remove all limitation, all resistance from the path that you desire. Just by feeling good about yourself. Now, to do that, of course, we've got to let go of a lot of stuff. We've got to let go of a lot of that stuff that we believe about ourselves that we've built up over all this time, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So for now, though, I want you to consider the path of resistance and the path of no resistance. The path of resistance is what most of us live every single day. So, which path, the path of resistance or the path of no resistance, which path offers easier flow? No resistance. Which path allows for using less energy? No resistance. Which path allows more focus on present moment? You imagine that now. If you have no resistance going on whatsoever, you're not having to worry about what's coming up. You don't have to worry about what's next. You don't have to worry about what was. You just are. So you're in present moment. Which path allows for pure realization of God and the guidance of God? Because if there's no resistance, you don't have to be going, I wonder if this is God talking to me or just my mind. Am I making this stuff up, or is this for real? No resistance removes all of the things that we worry about. It just allows us to be. We talked about in something this morning, our meditation maybe? I don't remember now where it was that we were talking about it. We talked about our purpose. And our purpose is just being an expression of God with no resistance. How easy would that be? We're capable of enjoying the path of no resistance. And since this is true, we need to look at what causes us to resist, what causes us to make things so difficult upon ourselves. And one of the things that I notice is we add rules where there are no rules. When I was doing all of the team building things, inevitably every single challenge that I'd put before a group of people, every group of people, every time I would offer that challenge, it might have 5 or 6, maybe 7 rules. But by the end of it, there would be 10 or 11 or 12 rules that the group added on to what I gave them. Because they start judging things. They start thinking, oh, well, this can't be this easy. And that's one of the things about no resistance. It would be very easy to flow through life if there's no resistance. If we let go of everything that causes resistance in our life, life would be easy. Our habit, though, would be to go, ooh, this is too easy. There's got to be a rule here that I'm missing, and we start making stuff up. You think about little toddlers, 2 years old. They don't have rules yet. They just kind of go. They do their own thing. Sydney's little nephew yesterday, he was so much fun to watch. I mean, he carefree. It's like, let's just go. You know, I'm going to get right there in the middle of this volleyball court and I'm going to play with the girls. He had no rules embedded into his brain that stopped him, that limited him from doing what he desired to do. Now, unfortunately, he would have gotten hurt if he would have been out there playing volleyball, so somebody had to step in and pull him back, and we're teaching him a rule. And from that rule, there may be other things that his mind conjures up. But if we could go back to no more rules. Now, I'm not saying you drop the ethics and the morals, the things that help us be a beautiful expression of God. You don't drop that. But all the rules that we added in around that, we can let go of some of those, if not all of them. And the more we let go of, the more we become no resistant living. It is our attachment to the illusions of this world that causes us to start adding all this on. Like yesterday when I can't remember his name now, but when he was pulled back away from the court, he set a rule. He set he set an illusion that line that he was told not to cross is the line he can never cross. Even after the game's over, he's going to remember that line. He's going to form an attachment to that, unless somebody teaches him differently. He's going to form an attachment to that belief. Now we do this as we're growing up, and some of the things that we learn actually served us at some point in our life. And because it served us, we formed that attachment. That attachment is what limits us. So if we can go through everywhere that we believe that this has to be, everywhere that we think this needs to be this way, everywhere we say, I should do this, or you should do this. Anytime we do that, anytime we find ourselves in a perception of needing to do something, in a perception of attachment, anytime we find ourselves throwing in a rule, call a timeout and ask yourself, does this serve me? Does this cause resistance in my life? Or does this allow for flow? So you can always ask yourself, what are you attached to? What is preventing you from having a no resistant path in life? I love the song from John Lennon, Imagine, because it questions all of this. You know, it got such a bad rap because it said, imagine there's no heaven. And people took that to the extreme. It's like, oh, he's saying there's no heaven. No, he didn't say that. He said, imagine there's no heaven. Imagine there's not this. Imagine there's not this. And he's talked about all of the things. If we imagine what it would be like if we didn't have these things that are causing us to resist, that are causing us to fight, that are causing us to believe one way or another. That song is all about freedom. It's all about letting go of resistance. It's all about opening to flow. That's what I love about this sign up here. It talks about all of the different names for God. And just because you call God something other than God doesn't mean it's not the same creator of all. And religion has taught us to put up that resistance to anything that's unlike what we have been taught. And we do this all through life. It causes stress, it causes anxiety, it causes us to beat ourselves up. We fall into judgment, we fall into all kinds of things that limit us, that cause us to resist. It is the attachment that we have to all of the things in our lives that is creating the resistance. So whether that's a belief, whether that's a material thing, whether that's a statement, an idea, when we have an attachment, we're attached to that, and that attachment does not allow it to change and flow. And it's kind of like walking the dog, except in this scenario, we're the dog, and attachment is holding the leash. You know, we're going down the road, and we might be going somewhere, but our path is very limited. We can only go to the end of the leash. And the attachment is guiding us. We've got to undo that leash. We've got to undo the leash and do our own flow, our own path. Being attached to something it truly is suffocating. It is stifling. It stifles our creative process. It stifles our ability to connect with truth. So we've got to release the attachments that we have to things. I'm trying to remember a great teacher that I read one time, and it was simply, I think it might have actually come from the Course in Miracles, where they talk about sitting in a room and just kind of disconnecting from your thoughts of ownership for the table in your room, disconnecting from your definition of this, disconnecting from all attachments. And that when you're doing that, you can actually open yourself to the truth of God. Because by doing that, when you start taking away those definitions, when you start taking away ownership, attachments to things, it is just God expressing through everything. And how can you own that? You know, if I talk about, okay, that table's mine, it's now just a table. It's not God expressing as a table. So flow. Open that flow. Let go of resistance. Live the no resistant life. If you ever want to hear a song that to me describes this perfectly, it's Garth Brooks' The River. You still have to guide your boat, your raft, whatever it is that you're on. You're still guiding it. But you're not fighting against currents. You're not trying to paddle upstream. You're going with the flow. And you guide it over this way to avoid a rock, and you guide it back over this way so you can get in the shade on a hot day. You're still going with the flow, but you're guiding it. It's not that you're just out there going, take me where I am, where I need to go. We can do that. God will take you where you need to go, but you can also guide your path. You can listen to what you're being led to do and go there. So, Consider for a moment, what is your biggest worry in life right now? And think about what that is. And then see if you can identify the attachment to that worry. Because there is one. If there was not an attachment there, there would not be a worry there. There's an attachment either to the worry or an attachment to the thing you're worried about. And it could be that you are worried about that thing changing. Could be you're worried that thing's going away. Could be you're worried that thing's going to hurt you. But there's an attachment to that. So identify the attachment and let it go. How does it serve you? If the answer is it doesn't, let it go. Just identify the attachment. See that thing, whether it be a worry or something else, see that thing through the eyes of God. See the truth that is God handling it all, and that illusion of the attachment will go away. So live a life with no resistance. Think about how freeing and how fun that can be. And let the fun and the free inspire you to live it. Let's close with prayer. As we calm our mind and open our hearts to the God presence within and everywhere present, we find peace and love embracing us. We breathe in this presence. We are one with this presence. There is no separation of time or space within the divine presence. The infinite presence of God permeates our being with love, peace, and guidance in all things. We choose to release our attachment to the things that hold us back from our truth and our potential. We choose to let go of our belief in the illusions that are present in our lives, and we choose to open spiritual eyes that we may see the truth of oneness with you, God. Seeing this oneness, we know we are no longer limited. We can release our attachment to the things that tether us to old thinking and behaviors. We can walk this life path with no resistance when we see through the eyes of love and peace and God. Knowing this prayer is already made manifest within us, we look within to our sacred union with God. And in this union, we embrace our truth, our guidance, our unbreakable oneness with God, and all is well, all is flowing, and all resistance is gone. We thank you, Father, Mother, God. Amen.